The place where you want to start is alskillsusa.org. And I want to thank Ms. Tessa Brown and Ms. Lisa Bruce on our team who work on this website and work on a lot of these resources to make them available to you. They're doing a great job and I appreciate working with them. If you go to events, and go down to state conference, and then you scroll down a little bit more, and you'll see the Alabama Virtual Competition Guide for 2021. So you click on it, and we have our PDF 11-page guide here for you. So we received a guide back in December, and Ms. Brown and myself and Ms. Bruce worked on this to adapt it for Alabama. Our thoughts were there is to prepare our advisors one time for this format, so hopefully the ones going to nationals will not have a steep learning curve and they can concentrate on getting ready for the nationals instead of learning a new software. I am getting an echo. I'll make sure is everyone muted? Please check your mutes. I think it cut off there. Okay. Yes. All right. So I got some few people joining in as well. So the virtual guide came from nationals, and hopefully we can learn. We've gone through this at districts, and we learned a few things, and we'll share those things with you as well, and get prepared for state. Now remember, we're running about 80 contests, 83 contests, and a lot of those are duplicate for college. So if you include college and high school, we're running 153 contests. And that is myself, Ms. Bruce, Ms. Brown, Ben Shireman, Nikita Dean, and Todd Griffith here at the State Department. So we've divided it by cluster. It is still a long list of contests. And to have a guide that will encompass everything in those in every contest is just about impossible. So the guide is based on just the straightforward format that should be similar to most every contest. But again, just about every contest is different. So we're just kind of creating a foundation here. And then we will get into contest details at the end of this meeting. So the virtual guide is 11 pages divided into 6 sections. We'll start with the foundation, or start with definitions. So an in-person competition is our traditional in-person competition like we had in 2019. A virtual competition is one held at your training facility with a camera capturing every activity going on. So the virtual can stream live through Zoom, just like we're doing now, or it can be pre-recorded and then uploaded and then a link sent to the judges. A hybrid competition is one that you may have parts in person and you'll have parts of it. I'm sorry, I'm muting some people. So you have parts of it in person and you have parts of it that are virtual. And then the pre-recorded is a virtual, but it's just a little bit different in that you take a camera and you record it, you upload the recording online, copy the link and provide the link to either the contest chair or the judges. So those are basic definitions that we need to understand. Health concerns, the whole reason why we're going virtual is for health concerns, the national crisis with the COVID-19. Hopefully things are going in a good direction as far as nationwide at this point. However, we do encourage you to follow CDC guidelines in your lab or wherever the competition you are. Please be aware of both protecting yourself and protecting others, and follow the CDC guidelines. So the foundation or the structure of contest delivery method. Now remember, this covers all contests. So some will use one delivery method, another contest will use another delivery method. So one of the delivery methods is the Zoom format, and it'll be exactly like we're doing now. You will have a set time for the contest. You will have the Zoom meeting link. You will join the meeting, and then you'll use the camera just like you have now in your shop. You'll have two. You'll have a stationary, and you'll have a portable one for the proctor. And we'll get into that a little bit later in this presentation. The on-site contest proctor is there. That person is the eyes and ears of the judge. They should be an impartial person. If it's somebody from your advisory committee, that's even better. This person is not there to judge. They're not there for safety reasons, even though they should, if they know safety problems are existing, they should point them out. They're there to record and to measure things and to move things. They're the eyes and the ears for the judge. So that's their sole purpose for being there. They need to be an impartial person, unrelated to the contestant, have no relationship with the contestant or no connection with the contestant. The role of the advisor or the instructor. We know, instructors, y'all are a big part of the success of your students. And you will need to take a big role in this virtual world of preparing your lab and your contestant to be able to compete, both at state and national levels. You're responsible for a lot. And prior to the contest, you need to set up, make sure your classroom or your lab can host, has enough room, safety-wise, 6 feet apart, following the CDC guidelines. Once the contest begins, your primary responsibility is safety. Make sure your students are following safety procedures, and you have all authority to jump in if something's going south or you see potential problems or a potential accident. Jump in, correct it, and then move out. Document it on the camera if you're pre-recording. If you're live, of course, it's going to be called. But do include that in your recording, just so the judges will be able to tell if it had any impact on the product or not. The instructor should be behind the student, not in front of them. And this is, to protect you from giving accidental information to the trainee or contestant. They shouldn't be able to look you in the eye or look at you at all. So you need to be behind them in a safe position. And then the next part is the judging and assessment options. So with the live feed, the judges will be able to ask questions of the proctor and get real live information, and they can judge as they're going. Pre-recorded, they submit the videos in the contest description, and this will be on you instructors to read it. In the contest description, there'll be instructions on certain things you need to measure at the end of the contest. Make sure that you're at a 90-degree angle if you're taking a measurement, because if you're off a little bit, you're penalizing your student. Another thing is make sure that it focuses. So some people were recording and they weren't giving the camera long enough time to focus in on the measuring tape. And so that, again, that hurt the contestant by not being able to read the tape measure by the judge. And then some contests will have documents submitted. In the contest description, it'll tell you where to submit those documents. Some of them may be in the hub, or some of it may be to a Google Drive. Some of them may go directly to the judges. Orientation meetings. Instructors, please have an orientation meeting with your proctor and with the contestant before the contest. It can be any time before the contest. It can be 15 minutes before it, or it can be 2 or 3 days before it. Just please have an orientation meeting with the proctor and the contestant. Trial runs are encouraged, mock competitions. We encourage you to do this. Set it up. Maybe create your own Zoom meeting, run it live, and just run through every procedure that you can think of um, prior to the actual contest day. Uh, One thing we ran into in districts is our instructors didn't set up a YouTube channel prior to the contest day. So it took quite a bit of time to set up the YouTube channel and then upload the video to it to get that link. So please set up, if it is a pre-recorded event, set up your YouTube channel prior to the contest. Anything you can do, any of that groundwork that you can do prior to the contest will help you on that day. Also, there's some deadlines on turning in the links and those kinds of things. And it does take a while for video to upload. So you want to take those things into consideration. The contest floor layout. So there's on the floor, there's a main camera, there's the instructor, and there's the second camera by the proctor. The main camera is stationary. It's set at a 45-degree angle in front of the contestant. The instructor is behind the contestant, and the proctor is a portable camera, and they're moving around. And here's a graphic of this, and it's just example welding. But so here is the welding station, or where you're going to be doing the contest, building or whatever. The contestant's here. Notice the stationary camera is at a 45-degree angle. The proctor here is moving around, and the instructor is behind the eyesight of the contestant in the background, watching, actively engaged, making sure that all safety procedures are being followed. Safety is high priority in these competitions. Integrity form, there's a fair play pledge. This is signed by you, the advisor. Read it carefully, sign it, and then in a PDF form, email it to Megan Edwards at alste.edu. She has a file. She will keep on file on her computer all of the fair play pledges. So that is on you to turn that in. You can turn it in this week. Go ahead and get that knocked out. The resources you have available to you is, of course, Miss Brown, Miss Bruce, Miss Yolanda Wilson with the colleges, and myself. Our emails here at the end. Here is if you need some Zoom training, if your contest is going to be Zoom, here's some quick guides for that. The YouTube tutorial, I personally set up one, and this did take some time. So I would plan to set aside a few hours, an hour or two, to get this set up so that you can have a place to upload your recording. One thing you may want to involve is your students. Sometimes, I know my daughters know how to do this a lot quicker than I do, so you might want to engage them to help you. We do have Dropbox and Google Drive options where you will upload your documents there. One way that you can do a link is to put it in a document and then upload that document. That's one way you can turn the link in. The technical standards are available through SkillsUSA Absorb. They will also be available in the hub when you log in to the contest. And the contest descriptions are on the national website. And then we also have a link for you to tell if it's if you have a question of whether it's virtual or not. We'll get to that in just a minute. And then this last portion right here is You have till March 31st to register. We are on a very tight timeline. So it's going to be fairly, I mean, really strict that you get registration in by then. So what happens is once we get registration, we close it, we vet it, make sure everyone is, their members and uh, membership counts are correct and that kind of thing. Then we upload it to nationals. And so what they're going to do is take that database file and they're going to upload it into what they're calling the Skills USA Hub. Now, the Skills USA Hub will turn around and send an email to every contestant. They will also send an email to every advisor. So when you register your students, make sure you're putting their email in and your email in. And when this goes out, it all goes out at the same time. So when you get that email, you know that your students have received that email and you can ask them and keep them accountable on logging in and creating an account. Once they get that email, they have to go through some steps to create an account. You'll have to do the same thing so you'll know exactly what steps they're taking to create this account. It's a learning management system. So once they create that account, they'll go in and they'll have access to their contest technical standards, their contest description, which is specific for that. It's Alabama specific contest description, and also their contest, which for us, for carpentry will be blueprints and that kind of thing. But whatever the contest is, will be in that same learning management system. That you should get it, you'll get it 72 hours after everything has been uploaded. So this April 7th date, it's plus or minus, but you should get access to the hub around April 7th or before. April 22nd is the live contest day. So your contest, if it's pre-recorded, that's the last day you need to turn it in. You need to turn it in April 22nd or before. A lot of the live ones will be on that day. And of course, there's variations everywhere. So some will be on that day and some will be prior to it. We will take all that information and we will create a conference. We will have 3 sessions. We will have an opening session, a second session, and an award session. So hopefully this will be something that your students really enjoy. You'll have a conference platform where they can go in like they're actually at the conference and they'll be able to choose those sessions. So really excited about this. I think you'll be happy with it.
Brian?
Yes.
I'm sorry. And I just wanted to clarify on the April 22nd date, it is very important that you read your contest description because there are so many different, so much variation between contests and how they're run. And so the April 22nd may not be your contest date. So, and I think Brian's going there right now and you'll be able to see some variation in some dates depending on the format and judges scheduling. So make sure that you check for the details of your contest.
Yes, thank you. So when we go back to the website, and this is a virtual guide, right underneath virtual guide, there is a spreadsheet, and this is a live document. So we are continually working on this. As Ms. Brown said, it'll have the contest, and then right here it'll tell you if it's going to be virtual or in person. Now notice some of these are not filled in because we are working. This is a work in progress, and we are working very diligently to get all this information to you as soon as we can. I'm not really making excuses. I'm just telling you the facts. We got this information late as well, and we just got through, well, districts actually be done Friday, and we're turning this around at a really good pace. So here is the date, like Ms. Brown was saying, some of them they may be on a different date. Also, this is your contact. So the person you want to talk to, if you have specific questions, you would go to the contact there, and then any other contest description information will be found there. I can tell you on the contest, the few that I'm a part of, the electrical will be in person. IBEW is our industrial sponsor, and they will be going to schools and setting up the virtual camera, the contest, and everything for you at that school. So they will get in touch with you in person. HVAC is done by Alabama Power. They're inviting people to their campus, again, following all CDC guidelines, and they will have the competition there in person. And some of these, we are still working out the details. So that is my presentation. And now I'm going to open the floor up for any questions.
Brian,
Yes, ma'am.
hey, this is Glennis.
Hey.
On as far as the students that are going to advance to the state level, we've had a couple of my instructors are, questioning how the size of the videos and things, and you were, and Lisa was a big help to us trying to figure out how to upload. We had some 30-minute, an hour and a half videos, and it ended up being 4.2 gigabytes.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's just like, so unless we see somewhere in this document, the virtual competition guide, the YouTube channel, is that a safe bet that we can just, because I think what we ended up doing was put it on a YouTube channel, but copied that link, put it on a Google Doc, and then submitted it through the students' competition portal. Is that going to be still a good? Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. And so in my research, the YouTube channel will hold up to 128 gig or 12 hours of video. So I think that's a great path to use, and it's free. Now there is Vimeo's out there, and it has a cost to it, and it's basically unlimited depending on how much you want to pay. So as far as free goes, I think you did the best method, and that is the YouTube channel. Copy the link, put it on a document, and submit it.
Okay, and I guess this might be a specific, I may need to ask Lisa Bruce, as far as cosmetology contest. I know just in the last 25 years, we try to keep our state competition as close to nationals, but nationals 2 years ago made some changes. And so when will we find out what we're going to have to do as in the cosmetology contest? That's going to be different, because the technical standards that I accessed is the technical standards for nationals.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask the national part of this. I'll let Lisa come back to the state part. As far as the national goes, I asked Aaron Gibson. He's now over all competitions on the national level, and they're not releasing any information on what a virtual competition looks like on any of them, carpentry, cosmetology, whatever. So we're kind of left us scratching our head. The only document they submitted is this virtual guide. So in preparing, I would stick as close to this guide as I could. Of course, every contest is going to have a little variation. And I saw Georgia, they did their carpentry by taking pictures. They didn't videotape any of it. They just took pictures and submitted pictures. And I'm like, that's not, that's what, no, it wasn't presented to us that way. So it's really difficult to predict how nationals is going to have their virtual contest. The only thing that I can give you is this guide, and stick as close to this guide. So Lisa, do you want to address the state competition?
I do.
Hey,
Glennis,
Lisa.
I think y'all did a great job, especially with you doing the YouTube video and putting that link on a document. That was so much easier than receiving 1,000 emails and then trying to submit it to judges. And then the judges had to get permission if it was on a Google Drive or something. So I'm
Right.
like Mr. Upton. I think the YouTube channel worked great. And once we get all of these contests built into the Next Thought Hub, then I'll send out that information just like I did for the districts. And
Okay.
you'll be able to get on there and
Will that
do
be
it that
sent
way.
to me as well, or just to the competitors?
Mr. Upton, have you addressed the classroom or the link that we're putting on that Next Thought Hub for the advisors to be able to look at, or did you address that? Or is that?
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you clarify the question a little bit?
So, I'm sorry, I said, when she said that she's gonna be sending out the information about what the state cosmetology contest is gonna look like, and I asked, is it gonna be sent to the student or is it gonna be sent to me, the
Okay,
instructor?
so the description will go on the it'll go to the hub, which will go to the student. So it will be up to Miss Bruce on whether she wants to. I don't know when she's going to release that, the timing of it. So
Okay.
does that help?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm old and we've all, it's just different. And everybody, I think at our school is really trying hard to embrace the difference because it means a lot to our kids. And so, but my thing as an instructor, I tell my students that I feel like it's my responsibility to know all of the rules, exactly the contest description, what you've got to do and the timeline and, what kind of clothes you have to wear, all of that part. And I feel like it's the student's responsibility to practice and perfect the skill. So what we were running into at our campus was some of the students were like, well, oh, I don't know. And so we had teachers scrambling. I mean, literally scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. And I know, I called you a few times and it's just like, okay, for whatever reason, some of these kids do not communicate. It's
Well,
a
Glennis,
struggle.
and as far as all of the cosmetology and manufacturing and the leadership contests go, I'm going to send that directly to the advisor that registered them.
Okay.
Because I understand, like you're saying, when I was in the classroom, that's what I did. I got all those, and then I took it to my student and just, made sure that they knew what they were doing. So
I
that's
think
the
as
route
far
that I'm
as,
going to take.
thank you, because as
You're
far as the, the teachers at my campus, they're just like, why are we not getting anything? It's kind of up to us to make sure the kids, kind of checking behind because, and I said, I don't know. I think because I asked him, I said, does any of y'all have any questions I can take to the Zoom meeting this afternoon? And that was the only question is, why can we, the instructor, why are we not getting the information? And so that, because we had some kids that they didn't even know how to check their email.
And
I
Glenn,
know,
say we advocated for you to nationals in that. We also saw that, and I think that's just part of this growth process. Is maybe they didn't understand the perspectives that we have. The closer you get to the actual student themselves. So that was one of the lessons that we learned. It's one of the things that we're going to try to do better with moving forward to state, is making sure that we have better contact with you. I wanted to throw out there too, there was a orientation kind of module in there that had some really interesting information. A lot of it wasn't relevant to my contest, but it was information such as dealing with the YouTube and how to create a private link and that kind of stuff. So I would definitely say that. The other thing that I would say is make sure, and I know that you're kind of a leader among leaders and you're probably supporting a lot of other teachers, is to tell them to make sure that they're checking those emails from their specialist that's in charge of that contest.
okay.
I don't know if you're supporting any transportation, distribution, or logistics teachers. We had a practice session, and I did a training video, and there was a lot of things that went out that maybe weren't read thoroughly. So just encourage them to make sure that they're forming that relationship with their specialist, because we want to make sure that you're comfortable putting your student forward, and we want to make sure that all of our students have a good opportunity, an open opportunity to participate. And if we know that there's issues in advance, we will do everything in our power to remove any barriers, so but sometimes, and I guess this is one of those things too, you guys are juggling so much, and so much of it's new, is making sure that they take the time to review information before the day of. So I can tell you
Right.
that with my contest, first of all, the kids were amazing. I saw no panic among the students, none at all. And then there was a drastic difference between instructors who had, we can tell who has logged in to the system prior to contest day. It shows us progress, so we can tell what instructors have directed their students to go ahead and log in and check things out. And I encourage that. Go in there, mingle around, look around, see what's in there as soon as you can. But I could tell a definite difference between instructors that had participated, who had watched the videos I'd put out there, who had participated in the practice run sessions, and who I could tell their students had already logged in to the championship hub. I could tell who had already done that. And I will say the ones that didn't do that till contest day were in an absolute panic. So just encourage them to make sure that they are preparing in advance. It's kind of like if we had districts in person, you'd have had to have a substitute and a bus and field trip forms and, your roster to the nurse, and, there's preparation that would have had to have been done if it was in person. So there's preparation that has to be done, even in the virtual. So just encourage them to log in early and perhaps often, and make sure that they are, I know they receive a lot of information by email, but make sure that they are really being sensitive to receiving email from the specialists here that they work with.
To your original question, I just want to go over the process with you. Ideally, in an ideal world, the way it should work is that the contestants register, the registration comes to us, we send it to nationals puts they come to us because they get the contest number. We assign their contest number, it goes to nationals, and nationals puts them in the hub. They send that email out. The student takes the email and logs in, and then they have access to the LMS and all the contest information. So we learned through districts that, that we had some disconnect there and some challenges you faced as well. So we've asked for, what we're going to do now is also the advisors will get the email at the same time, because that was my challenge, is I didn't know when was it, when do I know if they got it or not? Either they missed it in the spam or something. So now we will know that when we get ours, it's the exact same time that the contestant will get theirs. So we know that when that happens. And then on this page on our website, scroll down. I think, am I still sharing? Sharing, please? Okay. So if you scroll down a little bit and go to these policy changes and hit the plus, there is a whitelist. Forward the whitelist letter to your network administrators. Right here, if you copy this, it's a letter that you send to your LEA IT department, and they will whitelist that where it's coming from, next alt. They were whitelist next alt to allow the students to get that if there's a firewall within the system. So those are the precautions we have made to make sure that they get the contest and they have access to the hub. And then there was a question on the YouTube channel for each student. Okay, so the YouTube channel is large enough to host up to 128 gig. So as long as you got that much memory in there, you can put as many as you want to in it. And then if you run out of memory, then yes, I would start another YouTube channel. There's a
Brian,
give and take. Yes, sir.
Can you share with the instructors about the delegate session and how important that is if they can participate in that?
Great point, David. Thank you very much. And Ms. Bruce, I'm gonna turn this over to you.
We have got some things that your delegates need to be voting on, which is some constitutional changes and some officers. So Friday is the last day to register your delegates, and I will be sending out some information to you to look over so that you can get those students registered for that. And the delegate session is actually going to be April 6th at 10 o'clock. And you should receive, in the email, you should receive your delegate count that your school should be able to have. So just go in and there'll be a link on there for you to register all of your delegates.
Lisa, is the registration for that this Friday?
Yes.
And
Okay.
actually that, both of those links that she referred to are also in your Scoop on Skills. So, you can get to them that way, both the one that tells your account and the form she was referring to.
Okay.
I know that
Yes.
those things have been put, I think they've been put just about everywhere on everything that we have. So we really just want to be sure that you do get that and you are reading the Scoop on Skills so that we can have all of our delegates there. Any other questions about the delegate session?
Do you know how long it will last?
I do not. I do not,
Okay.
and that was something that was asked by another instructor. If it were me, if I were in the classroom again, I would just have my delegates see if they couldn't stay all day at your campus. And they will need to log in to a computer separately because that's how they'll get that's how they'll do the voting.
There's a question in the chat about the proctor. And do they have to be industry professionals? The answer is no, they do not have to be. They could be your janitor, or they could be another teacher. They could be your principal, your superintendent, your wife, your husband, your children. It can be anyone. Now, we do prefer, we would rather you ask your industry partner because we feel like this is a highlight to your program. And we want that industry involvement and community involvement in our programs. The proctor should be an impartial person who is honest. And that is, they will, they're not going to give any clues or anything to contestant because it doesn't teach the contestant anything. So, we just ask that you, with discretion, pick your proctor, but we also realize sometimes they're difficult to get. And we understand that.
So
Yes.
this may be a dumb question, but the proctor is only there in the live competitions, correct? Not the pre-recorded?
Okay, so that is a good question. Yes, they are there for the live. Personally, I would like one there if you're taking any kind of test, like the related technical math,
Right.
the terminology test. I think this not only protects you, the advisor, but it protects the student as well. We want to be beyond reproach. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if you can get a proctor there, that would be ideal.
So because like in cosmetology and job skill, that's the two contests that my students are in, and they're both pre-recorded.
Mhm.
So when we were trying to digest and get this together, the student says, well, which recording is going to be sent? The recording from the still camera or the recording from the moving camera? I said, we're going to set up cameras and lights and we're going to try to angle it and we'll send one and maybe we can get clarification, but if you make it to the state level. And she did.
Mhm.
So it's just like, if it's pre-recorded, should we upload 2 videos?
Yeah, yes. The answer would be yes on both of them. Now, I will say my contest chair in the carpentry and the welding, after districts, they decided they only needed one camera. So depending on your contest description again, you may only have to use one. But now keep in mind, if you're going to nationals, I think the nationals will be a Zoom with 2 cameras. So just keep in the back of your
Okay.
mind, if you're going to nationals, you will need that set up moving
Okay.
forward. But yes, we can make adjustments at the state level. Sure.
Oh, I mean, well, whatever, I mean, I think Lisa is over it, so
Mhm.
whatever she decides, I'm gonna support fully. It's just, if it can just be, let us know what we're supposed to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Certainly.
Okay.
So great. That's all I have, and I don't see anything else in the chat. Miss Bruce or Miss Brown, do y'all have anything else you'd like to say?
Don't forget to register the delegates.
Well, thank y'all very much for attending our meeting. Really looking forward to this. I do wish we were in
Fine, you
person.
do have one more chat.
One more chat for live events. Oh yeah, that's a good question. I meant to address that. So if you have more than one contestant, let's say, again, carpentry is my strength, so I'm gonna go there. In the carpentry lab, I would have all 3 of them in there and just have one stationary camera and have one proctor. Actually, we would just have one proctor. But yes, you don't have to get 3 proctor. If you have 3 in there, you don't have to get 3 proctors, and you don't have to get 6 cameras. Don't do that. Just just one's enough. But make sure they're all 3 in the point of view. Now, if you can't get them in the point of view, then you would need another camera. So that's
And
a
I
good
would
question.
say the same thing, Glennis, like for cosmetology. I don't remember if it was you or who it was that had more than one student that was doing it. So I
Yeah,
would just,
too.
if they're there at the same time, I would have them both in there instead of, doing the 2 different videos or whatever, just be able to indicate which student is which, and we can, be able to see both of them.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
And so, yeah, I mean, we tried that in our trial run,
Mhm.
and we had for them to maintain the 6 feet apart for social distancing and COVID.
Mhm.
The camera had to be so far back that you could not even tell. You could just see their hands moving, but you couldn't even see
Right.
hair falling.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I was just saying, if you wanted to do it that way. But yeah, what
Okay.
you did was fine. Brian, there's another question in the chat.
Yeah, that is on the leadership on opening closing contest. How many cameras, Lisa?
I would just say 1. But like I said, once we build all of these, Mr. Holt and everybody else, once we get all of these built, the ones that were not at district, because we're still working on the ones for state, because we're just finishing up district. But once all that information's out there, we'll send it to you. But yeah, I think 1 would be fine for opening and closing. I misunderstood the question. I thought you meant the actual opening and closing ceremony. I'm sorry.
I'll add one more thing. And I kind of didn't share this openly before because I didn't want it to confuse, but I know there's a lot of anxiety for instructors about setting up these cameras. And I think in their mind, they've got like a Mr. DeVille set up with, lights, cameras, action, and it seems very intimidating. And the process is very simple. So I'm going to offer this purely maybe it'll help alleviate some anxiety. But the video that I created that I shared for transportation distribution and logistics instructors was actually filmed in an automotive classroom. And the purpose was to kind of show how easy this 2 camera system is and how basic and simple the equipment is and the setup is. And I'll have to tell you, while we were recording it, the instructor whose classroom I was kind of borrowing the classroom from said, now that I see you do this, this is really not that big of a deal. So if you're having to use a 2-camera system, mine was a live Zoom, and I know some of them are pre-recorded, but you may want to access that video if you're having anybody that's kind of really intimidated by the 2-camera situation. I think it'll help them. I mean, it even shows how easy it is to create a tripod using some textbooks. So I will also add that. I'm adding that right now to our YouTube channel. So if you want to view that and help use that to support any others, just remember to remind them that this one was specifically for TDL contest, but it still shows how simple the setup is and some Zoom features that were easy to manipulate.
Yes, I'm
Oh,
so glad.
and just make sure that you're on our social media, and again, like Ms. Bruce said, make sure that you are opening up your skills, scoop on skills each week when it comes in as well, because we try to make sure that we've got consistent communication there.
Great, thank you, Ms. Brown. I meant to mention that video, so I'm glad you brought that in. That slipped my mind. So that concludes this presentation. Advisors, we're working as hard as we can to help you. This is a new frontier for us, and it's a challenge, and there's going to be a learning curve, and there's going to be some bumps, but we'll work through it. We'll make it. Appreciate everything that you do for our students. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank all of y'all. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, Brian,
Hey,
y'all can include this on the recording, but I feel like an idiot. Can someone explain what a delegate is?
oh, sure, absolutely.
I'm so sorry.
Do you want me to stop recording? Is that what you said?
No, you can include it. I don't
Okay.
mind. It's just I was reading up on it while y'all are explaining those things at the end, so I'm trying to answer it myself. But now that we're still on here, I'll just ask it.
Okay, so the Alabama SkillsUSA Association, we elect officers through delegates. And so every chapter has at least one delegate, depending on membership. And you get one delegate for one member. And then if you have 25, you get another delegate for every 25. So if you have 100 members in the chapter, now that's your school. So in the chapter has 100 members, you get one to start off with, and then you'll get 4 more. So that school will have a total of 5 delegates. The delegate will go to session, and they will vote on our candidates. Our candidates will go up and give a speech, and they're running for office, state office. And so then you'll vote for that. And it would be, Jessica, it'd be great to get some kids just to watch that and hopefully inspire them to become state officers. It's
So, sorry, you can go ahead.
yeah, it's a great opportunity. It's a lot like legislatures passed. You know, we have our representatives in the House. A motion is made, and they vote on it. So it's a great experience for your leaders, your students.
Okay,
that are
so
leaders.
the delegates are students, and then if you had anybody running for state, obviously I will not because I'm kind of lost. Is there an issue of like a delegate being one of the people running for one of the state positions?
No, they can be both. They can
Oh,
be
okay.
both. Mhm.
All right, cool.
You want you would rather them not, because in a regular scenario they're going to be campaigning, you know, and so they won't. In other words, you can have more people on the floor if you have a candidate and delegates. But if your candidate is a delegate, that's one person off the floor, not promoting that delegate. I mean, that candidate, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. And so if we have 3 programs with, you know, that total quantity of 75 students or whatever, however many members we have, we can send 3 delegates. Does one of each of those 3 need to be from one of each of our programs?
No, that's up to you. Your delegates is your choice.
Okay,
Mhm.
awesome. Thank you very much. And thank you for
Sure.
this meeting. And Lisa,
Hey, Jess,
thank you.
Friday, I'm gonna send, or by Friday, I'm gonna send each school, their delegate count so that they know how many, students to have on that.
Okay, well, no
And
worries.
the link for,
Thank
your
you,
delegates
Lisa.
to
I
register.
appreciate that. Yes, ma'am. And I saw the scoop on skills and all that too. I was just a little confused on that, but that answered my question perfectly.
Okay,
And thank you for all that y'all are doing for us.
you're welcome. Thank you.
All right, bye, y'all.
Bye. Have a good day.